So you need a Christian response, right? And this Christian response should be a reflection of our unity or the unity of the marriage, stewardship, and trust in God. Here's a biblical and practical approach on how you should go about finances in your marriage. The first thing, number one, is honor God first. Give the first 10% to God. The Bible says in Malachi 3, verse 10, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. As a couple, commit to giving 10% of your income to God through your local church or ministry. This isn't just about obedience, it's about acknowledging God as your ultimate provider. It's about building spiritual discipline. It's about inviting God's blessing into your household and finances. When you tithe together, you declare that our money is not our God. God is our source. Many people are not even able to progress because they've not begun that very first primary acknowledgement of this is God, you are my source, right? And this is the reason why you're not even able to save. This is the reason why sometimes you're in a mess. All right. The second thing is it is not his, it is not hers, it is ours. The money, whether the husband is earning more than the wife or the wife is earning more than the husband, it is not his, it is not hers, it is what? Ours. The Bible says in Mark 10, verse 8, the two shall become one flesh. Mark 10, verse 8, the two shall become one flesh. In Christian marriage, unity extends to every area, including finances. So, in your finance, God calls couples to function as one, not just spiritually or emotionally, but to function as one in the finance. This means there should be no secret accounts or financial manipulation. It also means that you should be open on and have honest conversation about your income, your expenses, and your priorities. It also means that there should be a shared budget, shared goals, and shared responsibility. If you need some ways on, practical ways on to go about it, just contact me and we can have a session on that. Even if one person earns more, like I've said, it is not their money. It is the provision God has entrusted to both of you. If one person is not going to work, it is both of you your money, right? So you should stop this nonsense of this is my money, so I'm going to keep it. I know how to spend it. No, 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 no. That is not how to progress. Number three, save consistently. In fact, 20% for the future. Proverbs 21 verse 20 says, the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. Many couples come to Europe and they're like, oh yeah, we have the salary, my wife is earning this, my husband is earning this, and so we just, spend. And then you see, you buy this, you buy that, you are sending money back home. In fact, a lot of persons don't even buy this, send money back home, and they're not able to save. And after 10 years, you discover you have nothing. You have nothing back home. You have nothing in Europe. You have nothing in Canada. You have nothing in the US. So God calls you to be wise stewards and to have a healthy plan that might include 20% of your savings. This 20% will now be an emergency fund or a retirement fund or a fund that goes towards long-term goals. It also can help you to save for the future needs, not in fear, but in faith and wisdom. And so you need to agree on what you are saving for. What are you saving for? Are you saving towards a home? Are you saving towards children's education? Are you saving towards travel? But I'm going to leave travel aside because from your rest of the 70%, you can actually still put down some money for savings, for travel. So save consistently. 20% for your future. Number four, live within your means. Budget the remaining of the 70%. I talked about sending money back home, maybe brothers, sisters, uncle, whatever it is. everything now that you need to live on should be 70%. You are giving 10% to God. No, sorry. You're returning 10% to God because you're not giving it to God. God gave you this money, right? So you're returning it to God. You're saving 20% of your income. Now there's 70%, which is now the rest for your daily living. So from here, whether it is housing, whether it is food, whether it's transportation, whether it's even planning to travel on holidays or giving to others, or even enjoying your life, you should live within that 70%. Now, you need to regularly ask, are we spending on things that align with our values? In order to live within the 70%, ask those questions. Are we generous beyond the tithes when God leads? Are we tracking our expenses together? Have a budget sheet and put things together. Put your expenses together. Put your income together and ask yourself, are we really tracking our expenses? Now, tools like joint budgeting apps or monthly money check-ins can be a great way to keep both spouses involved. Number 5, make every financial decision in unity and prayer. Matthew 18 verse 19 says, if two of you agree on earth about anything they ask, anything you ask, it will be done for them. Before you make major purchase or major investment or financial commitment, pray together. I would never even do that myself. I would never do anything without praying with my wife, talking with my wife. Then ask, is this wise? Is this God's timing? Are we both at peace in doing this thing? You will need to buy a car for 20,000 euros. And you didn't even ask yourself, you just went on impulse, emotional buy. Or there's a perfume that your wife wants to get and it's about 300 euros or 20 euros, whatever it is. You just go, you got the perfume. Why? Ask yourself, is this wise? Avoid acting out of pressure. Avoid acting out of fear or comparison. Many people, you go to someone's house, you see all the things they have, you don't know their financial capacity. You come back home and then you start spending. In fact, you start taking credits. So one thing that you need to even do is just don't or minimize your credit taking. In fact, don't even, if it's possible, don't take credit. Do things together because unity brings peace even when resources are tight. Now, let me summarize. A Christian couple's finance framework should be this way: 10% tithe, that's fresh first fruits to God; 20% savings, that's wisdom for the future; 70% living, that is steward daily expenses together; and a shared mindset, not mine, not yours, but God's and ours. And then to sum it all up, an agreement for every decision. I have a final word for you. Are you ready? Right? You're ready. This is the final word. When you handle money with unity, when you handle money with generosity and wisdom, your finances can become a tool for peace and purpose, not tension and fear. Because Proverbs 3 verse 9 says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. I hope that kind of answered your question, and if you have another question, we're going to, deal with that at another time. God bless you.